The third season of Invincible is finally wrapped up, and first of all, let me just say that I'm glad we only had to wait 10 months between season 2 and 3, especially compared to that nearly 2-year gap between the first and second season, plus the extra 4 months wait when season 2 was split into 2 parts. I mean, just saying it all out loud sounds like a mess, but anyway, I've already shared my thoughts on the first 2 seasons in my superhero fatigue video from a while back, so check that out if you want to hear how it tied into that discussion. The first season of Invincible was brilliant overall. It had plenty of twists and turns, starting off with a shocking reveal in the very first episode that immediately set the tone for everything afterwards. Mark Grayson goes from a regular teenager to a superhero under the guidance of his father Omni-Man, who turns out to be far from the hero everyone believes. As Mark struggles to balance his powers, school and relationships, you know, the typical teenage superhero stuff, his biggest challenge ends up being his father's true motives. My only gripe with the first season was Mark's love interest, Amber. She had some frustrating moments, often feeling overly difficult and unsympathetic to Mark's struggles, and it happened way too often. But it seems the writers took that criticism into consideration because they toned her down in the second season, making her a much more balanced character, which was definitely appreciated. Regardless of all that, Mark's dynamic with the rest of the supporting cast helped keep the show grounded and engaging. The fight with him and Omni-Man was one of the most intense moments that I've personally seen in any show. The level of violence was not expected, even with the amount that the show had already given us. It ended the season on a dark note, but still kept me and pretty much everyone else eager for a second season, which is where things got a little disappointing, but still good in my opinion. The episodes were captivating, maybe not as much as season 1, but that's likely because of the wait between the 2 halves of the season, which obviously hurt the momentum. Season 2 continued Mark's journey as he struggled to fill the void left by Omni-Man's betrayal. Still haunted by his father's actions, Mark tries to prove himself while dealing with threats established in the first season. We also get introduced to Angstrom Levy, a villain with the ability to open portals to alternate realities. His initial plans for knowledge quickly turn into a personal vendetta against Mark after a failed experiment leaves him disfigured, something he blames him for. See, this is the part I was skeptical about. Not the part with him blaming Mark even though I thought it was a little stupid. Nah, I'm talking about the multiverse stuff. See, the MCU kind of ruined alternate universes and portals for me, apart from the Spider-Verse films of course. And yes, I know this character predates those movies, but that didn't really matter anyway because I actually ended up enjoying this universe's take on the idea. Nolan's arc took an unexpected turn as he started a new life on another planet, even having a son named Oliver. This introduction happens when Mark tracks Nolan down to the new planet, which obviously angers him, since Nolan caused so much havoc on Earth, left Mark and his mum behind and just started a new life elsewhere. Things get even worse when Nolan's past catches up to him and the Viltrumites track him down, forcing Mark into a difficult position of protecting Nolan's new family and his brother. Nolan ultimately gets captured for desertion after one of the most gruesome fights this season. The Viltrumites also made their presence known on Earth, forcing Mark into impossible choices that tested his loyalty and morality. His relationship with Eve deepened while she faced her own struggles beyond just fighting villains. The season finale pushed Mark to his limits, setting the stage for even bigger conflicts ahead. With all that being said, let's get into the third season, which was a good season overall despite the slower moments. This probably happened in the previous season as well, but I really felt it with this one. I get that those moments usually set up plot lines that either come full circle or build into something important later on, but it still felt kinda drawn out at times, just a minor gripe. One of the standout moments this season was Mark's confrontation with Powerplex, a former GDA scientist who became a villain after losing his family during Mark and Omni-Man's battle. Powerplex blamed Mark for the destruction, and their clash served as a harsh reminder of the collateral damage that comes with being a hero. This wasn't just another fight, it forced Mark to grapple with the consequences of his actions and the lives affected by his decisions. While Powerplex's approach was fueled by grief and anger, it shed light on the unintended harm that Mark had caused, adding another layer of guilt and responsibility to his journey. We also get to see a lot more of Oliver's character this season, especially how he's more willing to cross certain lines that Mark refuses to. And I'll be honest, I agree with I agree with Oliver on some level. It's a classic Batman argument of, Batman doesn't kill criminals and they end up escaping, causing more damage down the line. Like Daredevil and Punisher debating on the roof in Daredevil Season 2. Check that out if you haven't, it's a really good scene. Both sides make valid points in their own ways. Oliver's perspective adds depth and tension, making their dynamic even more interesting. But hopefully his experience will humble him down the line, even though the show doesn't really delve into that like I was hoping it would. There's a lot more that happens this season that I'll briefly get into, like Mark's relationship with Cecil not going well after he learns more about how Cecil operates using questionable methods and even working with reformed villains. Cecil believes his actions are essential and I don't fully disagree, but Mark isn't on board, which is understandable. Mark ends his relationship with Amber while things with Eve develop naturally, which makes sense since they're both heroes, so it would work better and they'd understand each other more, so I'm glad that happened. Omni-Man and Alan form an alliance after both end up imprisoned by the Viltrumites, with Alan trying to convince Omni-Man to break out and join the fight against them. And of course everything that continues with Angstrom Levy, but I don't want to spoil too much, so I'll leave it at that. Overall, it was a solid season. The final episodes made up for all the slow moments and the times when the animation felt a bit downgraded. And I really felt that, especially since I was going back and forth between this and Arcane. But in the end, the characters and the narrative made up for it. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where things go next, and hopefully we get a season 4 with no splits like they did with season 2, if you know what I mean. Let me know down below what you thought about the show and whether or not you agree with anything I've said. Thanks so much for watching it if you made it this far, and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, so I'll catch you in a bit.